me. Oh, Lord, it's time for you to return. Oh, Lord, mhm. I know. Time to make a change.
It is that time. It is truth time. Time to make that change. And guess what? Dr. Cornel West is missing right now. Well, he's not really missing, but he is on the road. So yours truly is doing this solo today. I don't know how I'm going to make it. I just do not know how I am going to make it. I am looking forward to the encouraging remarks that will be in the tube chat when we get to that point in the show. But I definitely count it all joy to be with you today. Maybe half joy because the good doc is not here, but he's on the road. He will be back with us tomorrow, and I cannot wait. Now, you guys know I'm always around this point in the show. I give the what we're going to be talking about, and then I say what the doctor's in the house. Doc, tell us what is on your heart, your soul, and your mind. So it just feels so awkward not to be able to say that today. So, Dr. West, we are wishing you blessed travels, and we cannot wait till we are back together again when you are back on Truth Time again, starting tomorrow. So, what is on my heart, soul, and mind today? Well, before I even get to that, let me lay out some of the things that we are going to talk about today. One is Congressman Charlie Rangel passed away, as many of us may know. He's 94 years old. We want to talk a little bit about his life, his legacy, a son of Harlem, represented Harlem. So many of the people who were able to work with him, work for him, work with him, be in his life, him and theirs, have been lifting up his legacy, and rightfully so. So to his family and to his closest friends, certainly our condolences. We always miss people. At least that's what I believe. When you are in deep relationship with people and they pass away, even if they've lived a long, vibrant life, and 94 years old is long, and certainly the congressman had a vibrant life, you still miss those people physically. So I'm not with that crowd. It does matter when you love that person. You really, truly don't ever want them to leave this physical plane of existence. So I want to acknowledge that and to lift up his family and his friends, that God will give them the strength and the strength, the courage, the comfort that they need to make it through this moment. So that's Congressman Charlie Rangel, and he was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus, again, son of Harlem. Even here in Cleveland, Ohio, Congressman Louis Stokes, one of the founding members as well. So there's so many great electeds and public servants along the way who have really stood up and strengthened the body politic in this country. And that doesn't mean we always have to agree with them. We don't always have to agree. But when people have lived a life of note, for the most part, we need to go ahead and celebrate that and uplift that. Because who among us have not fallen short of the glory of God from time to time? Even I do, rarely, but I do. And then President Trump, as we know, most of us know, but some might not know, that the president of South Africa had a sit down with the president of the United States of America, and he proceeded to talk to this president, really set him up, really tried to set the president of South Africa up, but he held his own by saying that there's some genocide going on against white farmers, white Afrikaners of Dutch descendants who came into South Africa, took over that land. Let us not forget that they took land that did not belong to them. But I digress. I'm going to put that in the parking lot. We're going to have a longer discussion. But President Donald J. Trump, the 49 or the 50 white farmers that have been welcomed into this country, as if there's some mass genocide against white South Africans, which is not happening. Well, guess what was discovered? The video footage that President Donald J. Trump decided to show. I mean, what other president, even before I get to that, what other president will President Donald J. Trump do this to? but he picked a black president in the diaspora to try to check him on some genocide, forgetting the historic fact that the white Afrikaner was not native to that land. And so they came in and stole the land from the black Africans. But you know what? We're not going to, the black South Africans, because Africa is a continent, we're not going to let the truth get in the way of a good story. Well, the photo that he was showing is from the Congo. I'm just going to pause there for a minute. The photo that President Donald J. Trump was showing is actually from the Congo. But I guess one African country can sub for another African country because they all pretty much the same. You know I'm being very sarcastic there. First of all, President Donald J. Trump was wrong to come at that president like that. That's number one. Number two, we got challenges, race challenges right here in the United States of America with good, homegrown black folks on this continent. He can straighten that stuff out, straighten out the American apartheid. But oh no, you want to sit up there and jump to South Africa. Anyway, I'm shaking my head so I don't have to do no cussing. And then lastly, there was an article in The Nation magazine, even before Congressman Rangel died, but the author is just kind of analyzing the age of the people who are in leadership within the Democratic Party itself. And the title of the article, The Democratic Party is literally dying. So you know what? We're going to explore all of that and a whole lot more. When we come forward, we're going to get this party started by talking about the life and the legacy of Congressman Charlie Rangel.
Speaking truth to power and to the powerless. This is Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say.
Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Took the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
To thine own self be true. More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner coming your way right now on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, and if you are just joining in, you may notice that somebody is missing, and that is the good doctor, Dr. Cornel West. Dr. West is traveling today. We're going to try our best to hold it down without him, but we do want him to know that he is missed, and I can't wait till tomorrow when we come back together again, talking about Congressman Charlie Rangel, who died on Monday, 94 years old. This congressman who represented the Harlem area in New York, spanned over 50 years of service to the community, known as the Dean from New York. He was the first African American to chair the mighty Ways and Means Committee, certainly a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus, really accomplished a lot in his 94 years. As I had mentioned at the top of the show, even if someone lives a very long and vibrant life, of which the congressman fits this category, those who are the closest, be they blood relatives or friendship relatives, because, you know, in the Black community, we got that fictive kin thing rolling, and we have people in our lives that are just as close to us as blood relatives. Doesn't matter. When somebody leaves the physical plane of existence, we just miss them. So my thoughts and prayers and uplift that God will give the courage and the strength to be able to weather the yearning, the missing, the emptiness that people feel when somebody leaves them physically. I'm lifting up the family and the friends of the congressman. But let's explore some of just a little bit of the great things that the congressman was able to accomplish, the impacts that he has made, and really some of the highlights that were made by Essence Magazine, which is beautiful. You can go and read some of this for yourself. So the congressman, again, died on Monday. He was born and raised from a tradition of service and giving back. He really made history when he unseated at Congressman Adam Clayton Powell. Now that was a whole big deal back then. It really was. The congressman was the beneficiary of. He served in the Korean War. He was a beneficiary of the GI Bill, and he was able to go on and get many degrees. One of them, or his last degree, being that of a lawyer. So the congressman was an attorney. He, again, is known as the Lion, or the Dean, if you will, the Dean of the Harlem delegation. And the district that he served in was first created in the 1940s. And it was created to make sure that the residents of Harlem would be able to pick their own elected officials. We understand historically that Black folks were left out. And for the longest time, not only could Black people historically not vote in this country, even when we did vote, the people who would represent us the best, we did not have the opportunity to elect people who look like us because of the way that the lines were drawn. 1940s, that changed for Harlem. Similarly, just by way of example, mentioning Congressman Lewis Stokes, who both of them definitely served together, even though Congressman Lewis Stokes is in the ancestral plane already, but just thinking about how that district in Harlem was drawn out to give more voice to the residents of Harlem. It was the same thing for, it used to be called the 21st Congressional District in Ohio. It is now known as Ohio 11th, but the same thing, a district drawn so that the Black community would have an opportunity to elect people who would put their interests first. The 21st Congressional District in Ohio, as it was named, was one of those districts. And Congressman Lewis Stokes was the first Black person elected from the state of Ohio in that district. So all of that history intertwines. Congressman Stokes was also a member, one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus as well. So that tradition, it is important and it is powerful. It is also important that we understand the connections between the past, the present, and also the future. So yes, the congressman will be missed. A lot of folks have many wonderful things to say about the congressman. I want to draw from something that Reverend Al Sharpton put on Twitter. I still call X Twitter, y'all. I just refuse, but I went on ahead and said X, didn't I? But on Twitter, and Reverend Al wrote, deeply saddened by the passing of the legendary Congressman Charlie Rangel, a true Harlem giant, a trailblazing legislator, and an unshakable force in American politics. I first met Charlie as a teenager, and for over 50 years, he remained a constant presence in my life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You even have Mayor Eric Adams. God bless America. I can't believe I'm about to read something from him. Some of that political stuff this man does. However, in moments like this, we're going to jump over all that political stuff. Charlie Rangel spent a lifetime serving his country, first as a decorated veteran of the Korean War, then as an ambassador and a congressman. For nearly 50 years, he represented his community as one of our city's greatest elected leaders. I am so sad to lose a dear friend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In moments like this, we should definitely be mature enough to put some of our political disagreements aside. So that is why I just went on ahead. I kind of wavered a little bit whether or not I was going to read what the mayor of New York had to say because some of this political foolishness, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to put that aside and go ahead and read it. One of the things that the congressman is certainly known for, we got to give him credit for, was the National Empowerment Zone programs. And those programs, really helped depressed areas all across the country where there was targeted investment. Some of you may be familiar with the empowerment zones, but he championed that type of legislation. And then the low income housing tax credit. In total, he sponsored 40 bills and resolutions that became law. That is a very big deal because when you're dealing with a body that big and you trying to push pieces of legislation through, you got to get the consensus of the majority of your colleagues to get something through. It is hard. It is arduous. Sometimes it takes several sessions of Congress, or if somebody's in the legislature, several sessions within a legislature to even get anything passed, less known 40. So the congressman staying on task when it comes to that. Now, we know that there was some controversy in the congressman's life. Like with anybody, you live long enough, there's going to be some controversy. In 2010, the ethics violations, including failing to disclose income and improperly using official resources, led to a censure. So he was censured by the House. He stepped down from his chairmanship, but continued to stand by and do the work decades later. So, I think it was, God, I'm blanking on his name. I know his last name is Stevenson, but I'm blanking on his first name right now. But it was something that he said that I think is very apropos for this moment and other moments where we find some of the people who are champions and are heroes or sheroes of ours. And then we kind of find out, oh my God, they had some failing. The thing about being an elected official, see, we all have failings, but when you are in the public light, your failings come to the public light. And those who are trying to pull you down, they make sure they accentuate that. But something that Stevenson said about how no one, and I'm paraphrasing him, should be totally judged by their worst moment, and that's a big deal. I might not necessarily say no one, and maybe he said that people are bigger than their worst moments. I am paraphrasing, and I do agree with that. The totality of somebody's life should matter. Now, we know that there are things that people do where you like, that's too big not to totally judge them by that. But for most people are human. And if we have the capacity to love and to understand what that person has done to make the lives of others better, especially people in public office, they can't be judged by their worst moment, or their worst moment is not the totality of the service that they have given. And certainly the congressman is part of that. In 2009, in an interview with Time magazine, Rangel showed his trademark candor when asked about his legacy. And we often judge people by what, you ask yourself the question. I know I do, especially when you've been in public service. What you want your legacy to be. I think everybody should ask themselves that, whether you're in public service or not. Your life matters. The imprint that you put on other people's lives matter. So what do you want people to say about you on that day? I used to joke in some speeches when I would give my speeches, and I would talk about how I want people to talk about me on that great day, on the day that, I'm there in that position, because if we all live long enough, that's going to happen to us too. One of my dear friends, her uncle used to say, none of us getting out of here alive. And that is very, very true. But what do you want people to say? I mean, do you want the preacher to have to make something up, or do you want it to be real? I have certainly been to funerals where people have had the preacher, the person doing the eulogy, had to make something up about somebody. I don't want that to be my life. I want what the person who does my eulogy to have to say about me to be true, that I served, that I gave, that I sacrificed, that I failed, but I got back up. Those are the kinds of things I think that every human being should think about that. What do you want people to say about you on that great day? But going back to the congressman's interview in 2009 with Time, the congressman said the following: well, as Rhett Butler once said in Gone with the Wind, if I'm gone, quite frankly, I don't give a damn, end quote. And so that shows a side of the congressman in terms of his wit and also his candor. His wife, Annie, whom he met in a Harlem ballroom in the 1950s, she died before he did in 2024. And he is survived by their 2 children. And we do know, relationship-wise, when somebody is with somebody that long, oftentimes the other spouse is not much longer before they go to the ancestral plane too, because they've just been together for so long. Oh my God. And then another quote: his legacy is one of tireless advocacy, historic first, and dedication to justice and equality, said the Congressional Black Caucus. May he rest in power and everlasting peace. Absolutely that. Again, Congressman Charlie Rangel, he died on Monday at the age of 94 years old. He lived a truly vibrant and blessed life, and he was able, not many people are able to say this, not many people are able to do this, but to live a life of public service and really put some things on the line for a community and a people that he absolutely loved. So big ups to the congressman and big ups to his family. And when we get to the comments on the tube, cannot wait to hear what you have to say, both about us missing Dr. West and then some of the stories that we are exploring today. I want to go just briefly, but we'll get deeper into this, about this photograph that our current president, I'm just shaking my head because obviously he just does not care. So he confronted the president of South Africa. Not only did he confront this man, he had videos, he had him looking at photographs. And what it turns out is that the president was absolutely wrong, as he usually is, on the fact patterns. He is claiming that there's genocide happening in South Africa against white farmers. The president of South Africa tried to get him to understand that none of that is true, but he already has it in his mind. And as one of my good friends used to always say, never let the truth get in the way of a good story. And we know that when that comes to President Donald J. Trump, that is how he rolls most of the time, to continue to try to stoke racial animus as the president of the United States. makes no sense to me. That's number one. And number two, when you have your own racial woes in this country, it would behoove you to fix the things that are happening here before you go messing around in somebody else's country. The president of South Africa handled himself with such grace and such power in the face of being confronted with this foolishness. I don't know how he was able to just sit there cool, calm, and collected as he did, because I, for one, would have jumped out of my skin, but he handled it, and he handled it well. So we're going to explore that, what the recent news has said about what happened between the two men, and the bottom line being that what he was showing wasn't even in South Africa, besides the fact that the South African President Cyrus, has said, that's his first name, has said that none of that is true. When we come forward, we're going to continue this robust conversation. You are listening to Truth Time.
The truth will set you free, but first it might raise your blood pressure.
So I'm not driving you, baby.
More of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. New York City's Rent Guidelines Board voted this morning to lower the proposed increase for 2-year leases in rent-stabilized apartments to 3.75% to 7.75%. Renters are frustrated with the cost of rent and living drastically increasing.
Here, they just slap them.
The higher end, criticized by Black Mayor Eric Adams as too much for tenants, remains unchanged. Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial in New York City is moving faster than expected. Prosecutors plan to rest their case after 5 weeks instead of 6. Capricorn Clark, a former Diddy employee, testified that Combs once threatened to kill her for working with his rival Suge Knight. And former Congressman Charles Rangel has died at 94. Elected in 1971, he served 46 years, founded the Congressional Black Caucus, and led the House Ways and Means Committee in 2007. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again. Holla.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Hit the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Love you. Love you.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
I'm back.
Yes, we are. So glad we're together. Oh my God, during the break, I was just trying to find that quote, but I remember the name of the person that I'm referring to. He's an attorney. His name is Byron Stevenson, and he wrote the book Just Mercy. Some of you may be familiar with the book and also with the movie, which was very, very good. Excellent movie if you have not seen it. But I haven't found the quote yet. But Byron Stevenson, that is the quote. I'm looking for that quote from him. So if anybody on the tube, if you find it, I need you to drop it in there for me. If you are just now tuning in to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, you may notice Dr. Cornel West is not here. I noticed that too. Dr. West is traveling today. So yours truly is holding it down for the both of us. Absolutely, I miss him. I know you miss him too. He will be back tomorrow, and the dynamic duo will be together once again. But until then, I'm doing my level best to hold it down for both of us. So far in the show, we've talked about the death of Congressman Charlie Rangel, who represented the Harlem area. He died at the age of 94 years old. Has certainly lived a very good and robust life, a life of public service, a life of love, a life of hope, not without some warts here and there, but who among us, none of us are perfect. People are giving high regards to the congressman, as they should. So you got Mayor Eric Adams, you got people like Reverend Al Sharpton, and so many others, the Congressional Black Caucus as well, they should. We are lifting up the congressman's family and his closest friends, because we know that no matter how long a person gets to live, again, if you love them, you are going to miss their physical presence. May the congressman rest in power and peace, and also in love. Let me turn very quickly before we go to our next topic. I want to get some of what you're saying in the comments on the tube. So here we go. We have Blessed Peacemaker. Hi, Senator Turner. Thanks for all your beautiful work to bring us Truth Time. Well, thank you, Blessed Peacemaker, for always being here with Dr. West and myself most of the time. We're lifting you up as well. Got Culture. What up, family? What up, Culture? What up? And then we have a question. Is that Rambashik? Isn't the deceased congressman the one who Nancy P. called from the hospital bed to be the head of the committee instead of Ocasio-Cortez? I don't know about that one, Rambashik. I don't think so. It was another congressman who just recently died too. It was not Congressman Charlie Rangel, but I know what you're talking about. I don't think it was him. It was another congressman, but I got you on that. And we got Miss Regina Adams hailing from the land of Cleveland. Hello, Senator. Always a pleasure to be in the presence of greatness. Well, thank you. Thank you, Miss Regina Adams. I don't know if that greatness is Charlie Rango or is me, but I appreciate that compliment so very much. Got Morris Phillips in the house. Hello, Morris. Good afternoon, Dr. West and Senator Turner. I pray you had a good day off. We most certainly did, and I pray that all of you had a good day off. And then Morris Phillips said, Muhammad Ali said that, Senator. I don't know, Morris. You look that up. Find that for me. Maybe more than one person said something along that theme, but the person that I am thinking about is the author, attorney, Byron Stevenson, who is the author of the book Just Mercy, which was adapted into a film, which was excellent book. Excellent film, but I'm thinking about the quote from him. So I want to try to find it. Man, if I don't find it today, I'm going to try to find it and have it ready for tomorrow, because that's just getting to me right now not to know. But I'm glad I figured out who it was, who I was speaking to or making reference to in terms of the quote. And then we got Prester John. Hi, Prester John. I'm not sure I've ever read a comment from you before, but welcome. And Prester said, or writes, the South African government had a program called Project Coast that made ethnic-specific bioweapons geared towards Black people. Israel and the Centers for Disease Control provided material support. I'm not familiar with that, Prester. I would have to look that up, but thank you so much for sharing that. We got Brother Morris Phillips again. Africa is rising. The ECOWAS is dying while the AES is growing every week, is led by Traore, President. This is Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. Thank you for that, Morris. And on and on and on. We got Jesse Paris, aka Che Nuruma. Peace and much love, Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner from Denver, Colorado. We appreciate that. And then Brother Morris in the house again. You're doing a great job, Senator. Thank you so much. Man, I mean, being without my dynamic duo, it's kind of gets you off your game a little bit, but I am trying my best to hold it down for both of us. So let's go back to our president, President Donald J. Trump, who, mixed it all up. Very disrespectful to the president of South Africa, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know which another president that he would treat with such disrespect. And I don't care what their ethnic, racial heritage is. We know that race is a social construct, so I'm just using it because that is the language that we understand. But as a social scientist, I know other folks should know and understand that race is a social construct, meaning it's man-made, it's woman-made, it's human-made. Pick your label. It is not rooted in biological science. There is only one race. It is the human race. And although we don't comport ourselves like that most of the time, those are the facts. The racial dynamic, the racial construct has often been used to oppress other people in the course of human history. Those are the facts as well. But President Trump's viral, quote, white farmer genocide photo was debunked. It was an image. It's from the Congo, not from South Africa. And we know that the whole notion that somehow white farmers are being killed, no people shouldn't just be out there trying to kill folks, right? The notion that genocide is happening against these white farmers has been debunked. And the whole push of this story is being pushed by groups who believe they're conspiracy theorists. That's it. No wholesale facts that there's a genocide happening against white farmers in South Africa, because if this in fact was the case, it would be wrong. I'm going to say that straight up. It would be wrong. Genocide is wrong. And I don't care who's doing it and to whom they would be doing it to. It is wrong. See, so unlike some of these other folks, I'm going to stand on the humanitarian side of this. So we know what he did to the president. And it was so weak and so wrong. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. We got a whole lot of problems in this country that deal with race and gender and class. And for President Trump to then jump over to somebody else's country, that's rich. If my maternal grandmother was still here, she would just say that more nerve than the brass A monkey. Now, I don't know who the brass A monkey is, but that's what grandma would say. And that's how I'm feeling. So we know that President Trump also displayed an image of what he claims were body bags of white farmers who had been murdered in South Africa. However, Rutgers reported that the image was of humanitarian workers burying bodies in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The outlet said that the image was a screen grab of Rutgers video in February after deadly battles against Rwanda-backed rebels who had captured the city of Goma. Trump insisted on a white genocide taking place in South Africa. This follows years, as I mentioned before, of conspiracy theories that are totally unfounded. Now, in the Griot article, they do lay out the fact that there are high crime rates in South Africa. We know that certain areas have high crime. We got that. The data shows that most murder victims in the country, more than 26,000 in 2024, were actually Black folks. All right? But again, never let truth get in the way of a good story. And as for farmers themselves, only 44 murders were linked to the farmers. Only 7 of those murders were white. So the facts don't bear out what the president is saying. But again, he's stoking racialized, anti-Black animus. And it is irresponsible, but it is not much different than what has been going on in this country for decades and decades when it comes to Black Americans in the United States of America. This is just really par for the course. When we come forward, we're going to continue this. You're listening to Truth Time.
It's Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, or AD. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? You may be able to reduce your risk by managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure, being physically active, eating healthy, and exercising your mind. To learn more about AD, the importance of early diagnosis and intervention, and a potential treatment option, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least likely to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates Pastor and Mrs. William Sachs Epps on their retirement from stewardship at the historic Second Baptist Church. Dr. Epps has faithfully served Second Baptist as its senior pastor for 37 years. What a legacy of love and leadership. Pastor and Mrs. Epps will be honored at a luncheon on Saturday, July 26, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Universal City, and you're invited to attend. Noted scholar Dr. Michael Eric Dyson is the keynote speaker. For ticket information, please contact epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. That's epsretirement@gmail.com or call 213-399-2103. To Pastor Epps and First Lady Epps, congratulations from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
truth shall rise again. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, you are. And Sister Senator Turner holding it down for Dr. Cornel West, who is traveling today. We are so glad that you are here with us. Let me go back to some of the comments in the chat, and then we're going to finish with President Donald J. Trump and his interrogation tactic of the president of South Africa. Want to say, because I see Brother Phillips you have in there. But yeah, if I made a mistake, the photo, I thought I was clear. The photo that President Trump was referencing came from the Congo. It was not a part of South Africa. So let me reinsert that again. And then we got Brother Daryl Evans in the house. Hi, Senator Nina Turner. You are doing a great job. Well, I appreciate each and every one of you for saying that. You know, I aim to do a great job. I'm holding it down for both myself and Dr. West. So, you know, let's get to the heart of what the problem is with what is happening in South Africa. At the heart of this conflict is really the disproportionate ownership of land by white farmers who are not native to South Africa. So you can't take folks' stuff and think that people are not going to try to get their stuff back. That really is at the heart of this. And it's laid out in the Griot, which I love how they laid this out, that the white Africana farmers, as a result of the country's decade-old apartheid system, see, just because apartheid, the legal practice of apartheid went away, the remnants of apartheid did not go away. It did not make Black Africans whole. It didn't make them equals in land and money, just as America's apartheid did not do that for the descendants of enslaved people. So just because legally slavery was abolished, let me go ahead and use an example that we can really, really relate to because it's the United States of America. Just because chattel slavery was abolished in the United States of America, it did not make those who were victimized by it whole in that moment of abolishment. And we know in the United States of America, the 40 acres and the mule did not materialize. We know that during the Homestead Act, that white heads of households were able to get 160 acres of land to cultivate, to be able to leave to their descendants when Black folks were not eligible for that, the Homestead Act, because of anti-Black racism, and then did not even get the 40 acres. Let's know before we get to 160 acres. So just because the legal system of apartheid was abolished does not mean that Black South Africans were made whole. But let me go ahead and go back to what the Griot laid out. So the contention comes from the segregated and disenfranchised Black South Africans. So white Afrikaners only comprise 7% of the population, but they own 75% of the farmland. That, to quote my friend Andrew Yang, that math ain't mathing. So you can understand why this is a problem. So a law was signed by the president, by the president, and in January, and it was intended to begin a legislative process to redress the land inequities. That's what the president did, the current president of South Africa. You got to make people whole. You just got to do that. And once you recognize what the problem is, there must be redress. And that is what the current president of South Africa is doing. And so that is causing an uproar among the white farmers who are now crying foul, but not going back to understand you just can't steal other people's stuff. So President Cyrus, his first name is Cyrus, and I don't want to butcher the president's last name, President of South Africa, passed the law saying we're about to even some things out. And so that's causing the hostility. And he is doing the right thing. You gotta level it out. You can't steal people's stuff and think you're gonna be able to keep it. People coming back for their stuff. You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner. When we come forward, we're gonna continue this robust discussion.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. The Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
New Always Pocket Flex Foam will change the way you think about pads. Get full-size protection in a surprisingly tiny pack that fits right in your purse or pocket. Perfect for life on the go. With up to 0 leaks, 0 feel, and 0 bunching, you'll forget you're even wearing a pad. And Always Pocket Flex Foam is designed to adapt to your body, so you can move freely and confidently throughout your day. Experience the future of period protection with new Always Pocket Flex Foam. Pick up your pack today.
This is where love and truth meet.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You're listening to Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Nina Turner.
It is beautiful, beautiful indeed. Back to our comments, and thank you, Brother Morris Phillips, who said apartheid was to South Africa what Jim Crow was to Black people in the United States of America. You are absolutely right about that. Goes on to say, plus the land isn't being used. Morris Phillips is like, basically, Senator, go ahead, try to pronounce the man's last name. I love that. I really appreciate that. Man, I try not to butcher people's names. Names are personal. But President Cyril Rama, I think it's Ramaphosa. Lord have mercy. I know I didn't get that right. But the president of South Africa, okay? President CR is what I'm going to call the president. In all due respect. Trying not to mess with that man's name. I should have practiced it before I came on air. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Now, part of the problem with how President Donald J. Trump is using this is he's pushing white grievance in the same way that he has done over here in the United States of America. I mean, it's just putting gasoline on the fire when there should be none. In the griot, they go on to say that Trump's fascination with pushing falsehoods about South Africa and the treatment of white farmers has been criticized by activists as an attempt to push a white grievance policies that really do mirror what the president of the United States of America is so preoccupied with doing right here in the United States. Again, totally unnecessary. Reminds me of the whole notion of so-called manifest destiny, where, white folks in this country believe that they had a God-given right to go ahead and expand. Don't matter where people are, it is their right to do so. That whole notion and belief of manifest destiny, this president is pushing that right now in the 21st century. Now, I want to get in our final moments together. Man, this has been so good. You guys know how I feel when we are together. Brian Stevenson, still have not found that exact quote that I was looking for, but some other really beautiful ones that I kind of want to share. When he said the power of just mercy is that it belongs to the undeserving. It is when mercy is least expected that it is the most potent. Amen to that. Or how about this? We are all broken by something. We have all hurt someone and have been hurt. We all share the condition of brokenness, even if our brokenness is not equivalent. Go on, take that. Let that marinate today. We are all broken. We've all done something. We all at some point deserve mercy. Oh, love, 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 love all of you. From Dr. West and myself, again, live on purpose, find your purpose, and above all things, know that titles are good, but purpose is better. Until next time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.